Hello, Cinemaster lovers. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for an exciting experience because we've got something special for you today. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, and let's dive right into the action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get started. A phone virus is spreading rapidly, turning people into zombies. The outbreak began at Boston International Airport, a bustling hub filled with travelers. Among them was Clay, who was on a call with his wife Sharon, excitedly sharing news about a major project he had just landed. Sharon was happy for him but also voiced her frustration, as Clay had been away from home for an entire year. Their young son took the phone to video call Clay, but before they could chat, Clay's phone battery died. Determined to speak with his son, Clay searched the airport for a charging point, but every station was occupied. He resorted to using a payphone to call Sharon back. While on the call, Clay began noticing bizarre behavior among the people around him. Some appeared to be having seizure-like episodes. Within moments, chaos erupted. One man suddenly attacked a woman in a frenzy. Clay stepped in and pushed the man away, saving the woman. Her sister tried calling the police, but the moment she dialed, she exhibited the same erratic behavior, slamming her head into a wall repeatedly until her face was disfigured, then laughing maniacally and running around. Clay was horrified by the chaos surrounding him. Then, he spotted a chef wielding a knife, attacking everyone in his path. The chef charged at Clay, but Clay managed to fend him off using his briefcase. A police officer arrived just in time and helped Clay, using a gun to protect him. Clay quickly warned the officer not to use his cell phone. Without a clear escape route, the officer ran upstairs and Clay followed. But as they reached the upper level, a mob of infected people swarmed the officer and killed him. Terrified, Clay ran back downstairs and hid beneath the seats. At that moment, Clay saw an airplane hurtling toward the airport on the brink of crashing. He sprinted to the basement for cover. He noticed that the zombies seemed unable to descend the stairs, possibly due to the lack of cell phone signals in the basement. As he observed this strange phenomenon, a man suddenly attacked him from behind. Luckily, another man intervened, noting that Clay wasn't infected. The stranger led Clay to a subway area where a small group of survivors had gathered. Clay immediately warned them about the dangers of using cell phones. The subway driver, Tom, informed the group that they couldn't leave because the power was out. However, Tom suggested an alternative, walking through the tunnels, as he had a map of all the exits. While Clay was on board with the idea, the other survivors hesitated, afraid of what might be lurking outside. Tom emphasized that they had limited time, as the basement was expected to flood within 72 hours. Another survivor, Mike, decided to join Clay and Tom. The three of them set out into the dark subway tunnels. As they approached the tunnel's exit, they spotted a group of people and debated whether they were zombies or survivors. Moving cautiously to investigate, they were ambushed by a zombie hiding nearby. Clay and Tom tried to save Mike, but the commotion attracted more zombies. Left with no choice, Clay and Tom fled, abandoning Mike to save themselves. As they ran, they found a ladder that led to the road above and quickly climbed out. They barricaded the exit using a dumpster. Once outside, they were confronted with the sight of a city in ruins. Clay's studio was nearby, so they decided to take refuge there temporarily. Inside, Clay debated whether it was safe to use a cell phone to text his family, despite the risks. Driven by his need to connect with them, he borrowed Tom's phone and sent a text. He received a reply, but the message was incomprehensible, with jumbled letters. Tom suggested placing the phone in a refrigerator to conserve its battery, and Clay complied. That evening, as they discussed the unfolding epidemic, loud knocking echoed from the door. Listening closely, they heard a woman softly pleading for them to open it. Clay cautiously asked if she was normal, and she assured them she was. They let her in, and she introduced herself as Alice. She was covered in blood and holding a knife, explaining tearfully that she had been forced to kill her own mother. Clay calmed her, offering fresh clothes and a chance to clean up. Later, Clay shared his plan to travel to Kent Pond to find his family and invited the others to join him. Their conversation was interrupted when Tom's phone suddenly rang. They quickly retrieved it from the refrigerator and declined the call to avoid any issues. The night passed without incident. The next morning, they observed the zombies moving in large, coordinated groups, resembling flocks of birds. Arming themselves with whatever they could find, they set out on the road, moving carefully. As they rounded a corner, they saw a group of zombies blocking their path. Before they could decide what to do, two people on a bike approached and unknowingly rode straight into the zombies. Using the distraction, Clay and the group moved on. On their journey, they came across a house with a sign indicating legal weapons inside. Deciding it was best to arm themselves further, they broke in. Inside, Clay discovered that the owner had taken her own life with a pistol, which he took. Meanwhile, Tom found a stash of weapons. As they were leaving, Alice spotted a man sitting on a swing. Thinking he might be a survivor, they called out to him, but when he turned, they realized he was a zombie. Tom shot him in self-defense, but the sound of the gunfire attracted more zombies hiding nearby. The group fled as the zombies chased them. While running, they managed to shoot a few, but the numbers were overwhelming. Some of the zombies even wielded weapons. The group reached the edge of a river. Jumping into the water wasn't an option due to the strong current, so they hid beneath a nearby wooden boat. The zombies arrived at the riverbank but couldn't locate them. As the sun began to set, the zombies suddenly stopped and turned toward the sunset, opening their mouths wide and emitting a screeching sound. After a few seconds, they regrouped and left. This strange behavior left Clay and the group disturbed. Tom theorized that the zombies were somehow connected, like a hive mind. Clay speculated that their behavior was similar to a cellular network. If one zombie sensed something, it was shared with the others. Continuing their journey through the night, they heard music playing in the distance. Intrigued, they followed the sound to a school, where they met two survivors, Headmaster Charles and a student named Jordan. Charles shared his belief that the zombies had developed telepathic abilities and were evolving. He showed them the athletic field, where thousands of zombies lay inert, their bodies stacked together. Slicing into one of the motionless zombies, Charles demonstrated that they remained unresponsive after sunset. He speculated that the music playing nearby might be tied to their evolution, possibly rebooting them to become stronger. Charles proposed a plan to destroy the zombies by using the stadium's gas pumps and a sprayer truck to douse the bodies with gasoline and set them ablaze. Everyone agreed. Tom and Clay drove the sprayer truck and soaked the zombies with fuel, while Charles lit a fire arrow and ignited the pile. A massive blaze erupted, and as the fire spread, some zombies panicked and began to run. Clay, Tom, and Alice shot at them, trying to control the situation. Suddenly, the flames reached the truck carrying the gasoline, causing a massive explosion. The blast killed Charles and threw Alice to the ground. Though Alice survived, Charles's death devastated Jordan. As they mourned Charles, they heard an eerie noise emanating from the flames, filling them with dread. Deciding to move on, they eventually found temporary shelter at an abandoned drive-in theater. That night, Clay had a strange dream of a zombie man. Upon waking, he discovered that the others had dreamed of the same man, a character from his comic book called Raggedy Man. Continuing their journey, they stumbled upon a flaming pile of cell phones. Suddenly, Tom and Alice's phones rang. They immediately threw them into the pile to avoid trouble. Hours later, they reached a roadside pub and found other survivors. These survivors explained they were heading to Cache Walk, a state park in Maine rumored to have no phone service. Over drinks, Tom asked Clay about how his comic ended, but Clay admitted he never finished it. That night, Sally, one of the survivors, heard a strange signal-like noise. She approached the door to investigate, but Clay found her behavior suspicious. As he got closer, he noticed several survivors hiding at the back. Chaos erupted as Sally and a few others turned into zombies. Clay and Tom fought back, while Alice and Jordan tried to restrain the bartender, who had also been infected. Sally screamed into the bartender's ear, demonstrating that the virus could spread through sound. During the melee, Alice was struck with a bat, and though Tom killed Sally to protect her, Alice succumbed to her injuries. Distraught but determined, the group pressed forward and encountered Ray and Denise, self-described zombie killers, at a campsite. Ray explained that the rumor of Cache Walk being a no-phone zone was false, as a cell tower had been installed recently to support a casino. Ray also revealed that Raggedy Man appeared in their nightmares too, and believed that killing him might stop all the zombies. Ray and Denise used Denise's zombie brother as an alert system to detect nearby threats. He reacts whenever other zombies are near. Suddenly, his brother murmurs, "Are you coming home?" but in Clay's son's voice. Sensing the danger, Tom shoots him before he can reveal their location to other zombies. The group escapes using Ray's ice cream truck, but Ray suddenly stops in a forest, claiming he can see the Raggedy Man everywhere. Ray, overwhelmed by hallucinations and exhaustion from his tormented life, hands Clay a cell phone with a specific number written on it. Then, in a tragic turn, Ray uses an explosive to end his own life. Afterward, the group continues and eventually arrives at Clay's house. There, they find a note left by his son explaining he had gone to Cache Walk after his mother turned into a zombie. The note leaves Clay heartbroken. Searching the house, Clay goes into the attic, where he is attacked by the Raggedy Man. He fights back and kills him, only to discover moments later that it was his wife he had just defeated. Stricken but determined, Clay decides to use the phone Ray gave him. Meanwhile, Tom discovers that the explosives in Ray's truck can be detonated by dialing a specific number written on the slip. With a burning resolve to find his son, Clay makes the decision to head to Cache Walk alone. He gives the keys to his wife's car to Tom, Denise, and Jordan, asking them to spray paint markers along their route to guide him later. Then, Taking Ray's ice cream truck, he sets off for Cashwalk. Upon reaching Cashwalk, Clay is met with the horrifying sight of thousands of zombies swarming the phone tower. He drives straight through them, pushing his way to the center, where he finally confronts the Raggedy Man. Clay accelerates the truck and crashes into him, knocking him to the ground. To ensure the Raggedy Man is truly dead, Clay shoots him with his gun. Just as he begins to search for his son, Clay hears a familiar voice calling out, pleading for him to come home. He desperately looks for his son, but before he can find him, he is overwhelmed by the horde of zombies. Crawling back to the center of the chaos, Clay prepares to detonate the explosives in the truck. At that moment, his son appears before him, and the zombies suddenly begin making their eerie signal-like noise. In a final act of love and defiance, Clay hugs his son tightly and sets off the explosives. The explosion triggers a massive fire that spreads across the area, consuming everything in its path. As the chaos fades, Clay envisions himself and his son walking toward Canada, following the spray-painted trail left by Jordan. However, the grim reality reveals that Clay has become part of the zombie horde encircling the destroyed phone tower, now one with the very creatures he fought against. And with that, the story ends. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never miss an updates. See you in the next video.